Picture this. You check your phone. It says good air quality. Wait, what? Who's in charge of this rating? This is the inconsistency we are dealing with in global air quality measurements. Different countries have different AQI standards, leading to confusion and even health risks for travelers. Think of the AQI like a traffic light of your lungs. Green means go, yellow means caution, and red means maybe stay inside and binge watch Netflix. But here's the catch. Different countries define healthy air differently based on their policies, pollution history, and local health studies. What's considered moderate in one country might be downright dangerous somewhere else. This is the weather app screens from two points of view. One is from Pasadena. You can see the AQI standard is measured by numbers from 0 to 500. And this is the British measurement. They rate it from 1 to 10. In the US, air quality is measured using the Air Quality Index or AQI, developed by the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA). Think of the AQI as a yardstick that runs from 0 to 500, where higher value means worse air quality and greater health risks. It's designed to be simple and accessible with 6 color-coded categories that reflect different levels of concern. Green means good air quality with values between 0 and 50. Yellow is moderate from 51 to 100. Orange indicates unhealthy for sensitive groups like children or people with asthma. Red is unhealthy for everyone. Purple and maroon represent very unhealthy and hazardous conditions, where even brief exposure can cause serious health effects. The AQI simplifies complex data into something you can quickly understand, whether it's safe to go for a run outside or better to stay indoors. So what exactly does the AQI measure? In the US, it focuses on 5 major pollutants regulated by the Clean Air Act. First, ground-level ozone. Second, particle pollution, also known as particulate matter, including PM2.5 and PM10. Third, carbon monoxide. 4. Sulfur dioxide. 5. Nitrogen dioxide. Let's take particulate matter, PM2.5, as an example. These tiny particles are less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter, small enough to penetrate deep into your lungs and even into your bloodstream. PM2.5 levels are often elevated during wildfires or heavy industrial activity. Ground-level ozone, another major pollutant, forms when sunlight reacts with emissions from vehicles or factories. It's particularly harmful during hot summer days. To calculate AQI values, data is collected from thousands of air monitoring stations across the country using advanced technologies like gas analyzers and particulate sensors. These stations measure concentrations of pollutants in real life and use algorithms to convert those readings into AQI values for each pollutant. The highest AQI value among all pollutants becomes the overall AQI for the location. But what happens if there's no monitoring station nearby? In those cases, scientists use spatial interpolation methods like inverse distance weighting and estimate air quality based on nearby stations. Once the data is processed, it's reported through platforms like AirNow.government or weather apps that provide hourly updates and forecasts for upcoming days. The EPA also uses something called nowcast to provide real-time air quality updates during rapidly changing conditions like wildfires or dust storms. This algorithm averages data over shorter time periods when pollution level spikes. But does anyone actually check AQI data when traveling? We asked some travelers to find out. When you're checking the temperature of a place, would you also look at air quality?
Not exactly. Sometimes the checking temperature is my first choice, and sometimes I also look at the air quality. Like when I go to a city with high air pollution, I wanted to take precautions in advance, such as wearing a mask or adjusting my itinerary. And also looking at the air quality can help me plan some outdoor activities in advance. So yes, normally I could look at the air quality sometimes.
So it seems like opinions are split. Some people use AQI data to plan their day-to-day activities, the others don't even think about it. But here's the thing, whether or not you check AQI data, it is still related to your health. Let's break it down. AQI, or Air Quality Index, is a system designed to help people understand how polluted the air is and what health risk it poses. But here's where things get tricky. Every country has its own version of AQI. In India, PM2.5 levels up to 60 micrograms per cubic meter are considered moderate. In European, it's already hazardous. Meanwhile, in the US, it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. These differences aren't random. They are based on each country's environment, policies, and priorities. So what does this mean for travelers? It means confusion and sometimes danger. You might think you are breathing safe air when the reality is far from it. And this inconsistency doesn't just affect data, it affects real people. Have you ever struggled to understand an AQI rating while traveling, like their symbols, colors, or terms that confuse you?
I still get confused sometimes. I was like, what does it mean? Was there pollution or not? And even like the colors, they're different. Like, what does this color mean? Does it mean like you have a good weather today or you have a really awful pollution today? We don't know.
Yes, sometimes I have indeed been misled by the air pollution index, such as, for example, I once went to Weihai, a coastal city in China, and the air quality shows slight pollution, which in my prescription doesn't mean very bad air quality, but after I actually went out, I feel that the air was almost on the verge of severe pollution. So I think the feeling of mine and the temperature and the air pollution that shows on the Apple weather is different. So that really confused me.
Clearly, there's confusion. Now let's hear some stories. Have you ever noticed major differences in how different countries or cities present their air quality information, like using the index? And how do you compare their systems?
Compared with Britain and China, I think China more focused on the detailed data. For example, PM10, PM2.5, how much exactly are they? But in Britain, it's more like we have pollution today. We have all like, for example, in the tube, like in the train, the air quality is so bad. They would just say bad air quality, and they wouldn't say anything. I think sometimes I prefer the Chinese one because it has a clear standard, so you know the data. But British one is very blurry. They're just saying like very bad, it may cause cancer, it is pollution, something like that. But what about how much exactly is it? Like no answer.
These stories aren't unique. Travelers everywhere struggle to make sense of AQI ratings because there are no universal standard, and that's where things need to be changed. Some might argue that we should create one universal AQI system that every country uses. But here's the problem. Air quality isn't one size fits all. Different regions face different challenges based on their geography, industries, and policies. Trying to force every country to adopt the same system will ignore these differences and could actually make things worse. Instead of standardization, we need translation. Imagine if every AQI rating around the world was translated into your region's standard. You'll see similar colors and thresholds, no guesswork, no confusion, whether you're at home or halfway across the globe. The air spectrum system does exactly that. It doesn't force countries to change their policies or redefine their thresholds. Instead, it adapts those ratings into a format that makes sense for you. This isn't just about convenience, it's about empowering people to make informed decisions for their health and safety.
It is difficult to create a standard measuring system that all countries can accept. If there's a flexible and comparable version, do you think this will help understanding at all?
Yes, I do think if there is common standards, it can help people like us to understand it at all. Because when I look the UK criteria, I see China is one kind of thing. But when I went back to China and I see UK is a different situation. So if there is a common criteria, and I think the world people can know the air pollution system is working and it has some common sense. And I think common sense is very important.
I mean, the comparable version, the flexibility can cause confusions, but if you have the comparable version, it's kind of like a translator, right? Then it works.
Let's face it, creating a universal AQI system that every country agrees on, that's about as likely as everyone agreeing on the best pizza topping. Instead of trying to rewrite policies or educate billions of people from scratch, we need something smarter, something flexible and adaptive. Imagine if AQI worked like a universal translator for air quality. Except instead of translating languages, it translates the AQI data from all over the world into a region standard. You'd get the same color, the same meanings, and no guesswork, all from your point of view, no matter where that data is coming from in the world. The air spectrum system is designed to do just that. It doesn't force countries to change their policies or redefine their thresholds. Instead, it translates out AQI data to your standard and presents that to you. Think of it as a way to see all the world through your own eyes. This approach isn't about enforcing uniformity. It's about making air quality information more accessible and actionable for everyone. Whether you are planning your next trip or just curious about what you're breathing, let's make air quality info a little less confusing and a lot more helpful. Got a story or idea? We'd love to hear it. Thank you for listening.